Alright, we are going back to Northern Desert to farm some more gold. Northern Desert Curious, that is. So I just made a video with, doing the gold farm as a troll. I spent about a week doing various iterations of farming as a troll, and after many failed attempts I finally got one that worked, and worked moderately efficiently. And then as soon as I did that, as soon as I got that decent video, as soon as I finished commentating on it and put it up, I figured out the real trick to farming infinite gold as a vampire. Previously, I'd considered vampire as using lifesteal to kill off the Aequitas clones without losing any health. But what I couldn't figure out was how you summon the Aequitas clones in the first place. I assumed that you could only do it finitely many times before Aequitas Prime ran out of health. And that you could do a lot of cycles, get a lot of gold, but couldn't quite go infinite, and I wanted to go truly infinite. And I finally realized that wasn't true at all. The trick is to use knockback, which is why I've prepped this bear mace. As we've used in a lot of places before, the secondary target of knockback is very different from most targets of attacks, and in particular, it can't be killed by the knockback. So that's something that the game doesn't actually tell you anywhere, I don't think, but if you play a labyrinth a few times, eventually you'll notice, hey, these minotaurs that knock me into walls, they seem really keen on leaving me at exactly 1 health. That seems a bit weird, that it would be exactly 1 so often. So, because of that, we can knock back Aequitas clones into Aequitas Prime. Aequitas Prime will already be at 1 HP by then, and will remain at 1 HP because you can't be killed by being the indirect target of a knockback. But Aequitas Prime will still count as having been hit, in some sense, and in particular will still spawn a clone. So that's our plan. Our plan is to reach a situation where basically we kill each clone in 2 hits. The first hit knocks the clone back into Aequitas, spawning a replacement, and the second kills the clone before knockback can occur. Plate mail in that shop is a great find, will make it much easier to avoid taking any damage from the clones. And we're hoping that this should run a lot faster and more consistently than the troll loop, because the troll loop relied on a very finicky set of gods. You wanted Dracul and one of a set of 2 gods and one of a set of 3 gods. Vampire, of course, being unable to worship, does not rely on which gods happen to spawn whatsoever. And in addition to that, the loop should run a lot faster since we don't need to keep exploring to get mana back. We just need to punch things. So hopefully that should work out well. And since I'm making this commentary in the future after I've already played the game, I can say with certainty that it does in fact work out well. I am struggling a little leveling as a vampire. I'm not very good at vampire, to be honest. It's just never been a class that I've really gotten proficiency with. I have had to learn it a bit more in order to beat Troll Laboratory Warmonger and Vicious Gantelet with it, but I'm still very much out of my element playing vampire. So that's why I'm sort of fumbling around here a bit. And in particular, the fact of the matter is, I have forgotten entirely that I haven't converted anything this run. So that's why a big part of why I'm struggling so much is no conversions. I should really just be buying some random items from shops and converting them, since we're going to get enough gold for the items we want eventually. And getting some conversions down now would be really helpful. But for now, there's really nothing we can use as blood cows available, so that's a little unfortunate. We'll make do, but that's another part of why I'm having a little bit of a struggle here. Get in there is proving extremely helpful though, which is why I haven't bought the plate mail yet, because get in there is what we're really relying on. I convert that biceps there and completely forget that it won't actually give me any more lifesteal, because vampire takes so much conversion points for each threshold. So that's there's definitely some things I could have done a bit smarter. Again, my lack of experience and or skill with vampire is really on display here. If I kill that goblin, I can level up. Get in there I knew wouldn't actually prevent the hit, because, you know, goblins have first strike, but I figured no reason not to cast it. Builds up some dodge chance, so why not? This dragon spawn is the first decent blood cow we found, and I'm really confused why it is still damaging me. And this is when I realized, oh, I don't have, like, any conversions. Martyr Wraps gives me 3 conversion points for every gold spent, and it gets me to the next threshold. That's solid enough. And now the dragon spawn is actually serving as a blood cow for me. It's barely surviving 1 attack though, so once we level up it won't be a blood cow anymore, but hopefully soon we'll be able to start killing clones of Aequitas. It's always embarrassing playing a class like Vampire that I'm not good with, because I feel like there's like some really obvious moves that I'm just completely missing, and like the more experienced players who know Vampire like the back of their hand are going to be shouting at the screen, "No, you fool!" Like watching a horror movie and the protagonist is like, "I'll just go into the dark, creepy basement of death," and the audience is shouting, "Don't do that incredibly stupid thing you just said." Goblin works as blood cow too, that's convenient. Worth remembering that Fine Sword is there. We may or may not end up needing it later, depending on how the numbers work out. We really want to be able to kill the Aequitas clones in 2 hits. Speaking of Aequitas clones, now that we're level 7 is traditionally when I want to start farming Aequitas clones instead of normal monsters. So I'm going to be pushing Aequitas around a little here. The thing is, I want Aequitas to have a lot of monsters around him, because I want to make sure that all of the clones he spawns are spawned in specific places that I can easily predict. Because I want a script to be able to run the loop for me, and the script will just not work if the clones are spawning in the wrong place. So I want Aequitas to be surrounded on as many sides as possible, and to do that, putting Aequitas on the edge of the map is going to be useful. I'm a little concerned about where I'm going to get monsters to fill out the other sides around Aequitas, because there's not a lot around here, and I can't hit the level 2 and 3 nearby monsters with Bear Mace because they'll die. But it doesn't take me long to realize, oh, I can just use Aequitas clones and fill up the extra spaces with them. We are rather low on darkness. We don't need darkness once the loop starts running, obviously, but it is somewhat concerning when we're still trying to get set up and we're not very good at this class. once we're level 8, that level 7 Meatman and the level 7 Troll will be extremely good blood cows. So we're really just holding out until then. I'm gonna use a reflex potion here to be able to kill this first clone of Aequitas. That'll get us to the level 8 we need. And it's not like we need to save our reflex potion for the boss, because who says we need to actually kill the boss? Drank a blood pool there just to avoid popping death protection. We can't get our death protection back, so I'd like to hold on to it if I can. And now that we've got these great level 7 blood cows available, we can have a much easier time with bullying Aequitas and his clones. And one of the nice things about Vampire is that Sanguine will be useful in the loop, because it gives us a way of mopping up blood. Because I am somewhat concerned about the bloodstains building up and lagging the game or something, because they do seem to be separate sprites. And getting a way of dealing with bloodstains when I was playing with Troll definitely seemed to improve performance a lot. So the fact that Vampire has Sanguine innately is very convenient. We're taking very little net damage from each Aequitas clone hit. That is a good sign. It is taking us 3 hits to kill, and the 3rd hit isn't getting much benefit from lifesteal, but hopefully we'll be down to 2 hits to kill once we've reached level 10. I didn't notice that that would pop my death protection there with the goblin, so that was a bit careless. Luckily, the death protection is basically there as carelessness insurance, so I'm going to say the death protection was doing exactly its job. Killing with a Pizorf there just to spawn one more Aequitas clone. Patches sent us halfway across the map there. I haven't really been paying attention to Patches much. Hasn't really done anything relevant in either direction. I think we got some extra max mana from him. Alright, I spawned some extra Aequitases because I want that line of 5 monsters above Aequitas. That way, the only places that Aequitas can spawn clones is immediately left and right of himself. And the only places that we can stand to attack those clones are another space left or right of that, where we'll be facing Aequitas and they'll be knocked into Aequitas Prime. So this all seems quite nicely set up, and in particular, we're losing 3 health on each hit of the Aequitas clones. And that's really good, because it means that, at least once we've gotten through this initial super overheal we have, we'll be able to drink 1 blood pool after each time we kill an Aequitas clone. So that'll help prevent blood pools from building up too much. It won't let us it won't be enough to be truly infinite without building up blood pools, because some Aequitas clones we kill will make us level up, like this one. And when we level up, we're at full health and we can't drink a blood pool. So each time we level up, the number of blood pools lying around will increase by 1. That being said, only 1 per level up is an extremely slow rate. So I'm not too concerned about that for now. And this knockback strategy is working great. We're able to keep spawning clones of Aequitas, even though Aequitas is at 1 HP and we're not exploring anywhere. So now that this is all set up, I'm gone off, written up a script to do this for me. And let's get it started. The script is basically right-click on an Aequitas clone twice, then left-click there, which makes us step in and pick up the gold in the blood pool. Then switch to the other Aequitas clone, right-click, left-click. Then move to the other Aequitas clone, right-click, left-click, and so on and so forth forever. And look at that hundreds digit of our gold count. It's the conversion whirlpool circle icon for a moment there. Sort of cycling through the conversion whirlpool circle from left to right until it's gone, and now it's going through the gold pile icon. It's a really funny interaction there. I'm pretty sure what's going on is that the numbers for like the dial or whatever that is are like sprites on a sheet, and it's like they're arranged from like 0 to 9. So when you want 900, it's like, oh, just go over 9 places and look there. And then, the problem is when we got over 1,000 gold, it's now trying to put, say, an 11 in the hundreds digit. That looks like part of the mana bar with a bit of health bar above it. So what it ends up doing is being like, okay, go over 11 spaces and choose that sprite. Or go over 20 spaces and choose that sprite, and so on. So it ends up wandering off into parts of the sprite sheet that aren't numbers, and displaying them in place of numbers. I don't know for sure that that's what's going on, but that seems plausible to me as a guess. So, I think that's really funny, and look at how fast we're leveling up here, how fast we're getting gold. This is way, way faster than the troll loop. I'm glad I was able to get the troll loop working, because I do feel like I have a certain affinity for troll that I definitely don't have for vampire. And whereas other people have done the vampire loop before, as far as I know, nobody else has farmed gold with troll. But after seeing this in action, I will be the first to admit that the troll loop is nowhere near as good as the vampire loop. Look, now it's displaying numbers in the hundreds place, but they're all offset a little, like they've slid upwards. And once it's cycled through those, it's going to start cycling through those icons again, but again, offset a little, moved upwards on the page. Don't know what's currently there, those weird metallic things that aren't numbers. I can't quite place what those icons are. But now we're getting the whirlpool circle. I don't know why it's going through the same things again, but like offset slightly, but in a way that overlaps with what we were seeing before. Maybe it's like, you know, some sort of like dictionary order thing where when you get to the end of one line, you move down and start reading the next line. Do I mean dictionary order there, or like lexicographic? Whatever. I'm not a computer programmer, so I don't actually know if that's what's going on under the hood. But I don't know. That's my best guess, and I think it's kind of interesting to speculate about. I'm sure Sword would know the real reason. So the troll loop was getting us, we said, about 7,000 gold an hour. This loop right here that we're running, it's getting us more than 25 gold a second. If you multiply that out, that's going to end up being something like, I don't know, 150,000 gold an hour? So this is a truly ridiculously fast way of getting gold. And unlike the troll loop, it also will continue to function after the next patch nerfs troll for being kind of slightly completely broken at the moment. I could probably have cut some of this for video length, And maybe I should have, but this just runs so fast. I feel like if I can squeeze in all of the farming I did before I just decided to leave, why not do so? The first time I set up the script here, I actually made a mistake. I had it only right-click on each Aequitas clone once, and what was interesting about that was it meant that so I'd right-click on the left one, which spawned the right-hand Aequitas clone, but kept the left one alive. Then I right-clicked on the right-hand one, which spawned another Aequitas clone a space to the left of the left-hand one. And then I couldn't actually get to the left-hand one to attack it anymore. The right-hand one died, so I couldn't attack anyone there. So the vampire just sort of ended up standing there not attacking anyone. And that's really good, because the risk of things like blood pools piling up is that the longer the game goes on, the more the game lags, and the more the game lags, the more likely the script is to miss an input. Like, it just tries to right-click and it just doesn't register. And the problem with the troll loop is that because you're playing on the edge of the knife with death protection the whole time, if things go awry and you, like, miss an input, then you're going to die. Like, your troll will just suicide from the script continuing to run. That's all there is to it. You have no chance of survival. Whereas here, the fact that when the loop stops working, you just stop attacking instead of dying, that's huge. Because the troll loop, I kept leaving versions of it running overnight and then waking up in the morning and finding, oh, I'm dead. And according to the video, it ran for 2 hours and got me a ton of gold, but I can't take it with me because I'm dead. Here, if you ran this overnight, then maybe it wouldn't keep running successfully forever, but it wouldn't kill you, so even if you only got 4 hours worth of gold farming instead of 8, you could still leave the dungeon with it. So I think that's a pretty huge boon. Of course, it doesn't really matter that much, because, after all, this gains gold so fast you don't need to leave it running overnight. 10 minutes is worth 30,000 gold or so. We've reached about the same prestige level here that I reached in the troll loop video. The big difference is that with the troll loop video, I left the loop running for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Here, it's been not even 10 minutes. You've seen everything the loop has done. So this is like, I just can't express enough just how much faster this is. We're going to get twice as much gold as the troll loop gave us in about a tenth of the time. Tenth of the time? Maybe even a 15th? That might be right. Listen, math is hard. And unfortunately, Desktop Dungeons requires quite a bit of it. But the point is that you get so much gold that if it doesn't even, nothing else really matters because you get to leave with a full pocket in a very short amount of time. I suppose technically you don't need a vampire to do this. You can get several stacks of lifesteal from Dracul or from items, and you get Sanguine from Dracul as well. So most classes could do this if they wanted to, but it would take a lot more setup. You have to like get Dracul and get a ton of piety with him. Vampire definitely does it better. It kind of says something about just how bad I am with Vampire, that I'm almost considering next time I need gold, just using another class in Dracul instead and trying to put together the loop that way, just to avoid having to level up as Vampire because I'm so bad at it. I suppose a better solution there would just be prep Yendor and cheese through it. Yendor prep might be, you know, it's better to do your challenge runs without it if you can, but this isn't a challenge run, this is just gold farming, so I'm not too worried about gold farming in an honorable fashion. Except insofar as I really wanted the troll loop to be good enough to use, because the troll loop was mine, you know? Like, other people talked about farming gold here, and I guarantee they were doing Vampire, because Vampire is the class everyone else thinks of when they think being able to just sustain forever. Troll loop is just, I don't know, I feel like being able to loop with trolls seemed to already be known before me, but considering the Curious Vicious Gone to Left thing, I'm pretty sure I, like, was the first to see, like, the full scope of its potential. So between that and, like, being the first to, like, try troll as the gold farmer, I kinda like, you know, that personal connection of, like, you know, this is my loop, this is my gold farm, I made this. Because even though I came up with this loop independently, aside from just hearing that Northern Desert Curious is a place to farm gold, I am pretty sure this is a loop that other people already knew about. Pretty sure this is the one, I think, Srid or Shadabox, I forget who, was saying when they mentioned farming gold here, and using a script to help out with it. So, I don't know, it's a little irrational there, I know it doesn't actually matter, but I wanted the one that was my original to be the one I could depend on, but this is just so much better. I can't go back to the troll gold farm after this. I'm still gonna put up, like, the troll gold farm video because I still want to, like, you know, show off, hey, you can do this with troll, but when vampire is an option, you really shouldn't do it with troll. Vampire is just gonna be the better choice. I love the constant visual effect on Aequitas. He's just continuously glowing green and has that tall tower of blue, whatever that is, flames? Like a level up visual effect? Because the level up effect seems to be shared with the Aequitas spawns effect. And maybe with all the other spawn effects as well. I've never actually looked too closely at, like, the cave snake spawning animation. But I like how here we're spawning so fast that the effect never gets a chance to fade. A new instance of it replaces the old one before the old one disappears. The game feels like it's starting to slow down a little bit here. It's not running quite as fast as before. We don't need to be worried about that, in terms of we don't need to be like, should I get out before something goes wrong and I die? Because again, Vampire, unlike Troll, isn't on the brink of death constantly. We'll be fine. But it might be worth noting that there is some blood buildup or something, but that's okay. Like, at this point, we've got plenty of gold for one run. It does make me think about, like, could I set this up in a way that doesn't leave extra blood pools lying around? And the thing is, if you take more damage so that you can scoop up one extra blood pool, then eventually the level ups will be so far apart that the more damage kills you. With Blue Bead and Fireheart and stuff you could do it, but whatever, it doesn't actually matter at all. So that's enough looping for now. Look at those red squares of blood. So even though we were scooping up most of the blood stains along the way, we left a ton of blood on the ground. And even after stepping on there and drinking as many of the copies of the blood pool as we can, it still left a ton. I don't have to kill the bosses, of course, I could just leave, but I kind of feel like it. I'm gonna sell the Warlock Beard just so that after killing a million Aequitases? Aequitae? Whatever the correct plural of Aequitas is. Just so that after all that I don't even have an Aequitas trophy. It just seems very rude to Aequitas. So I clicked to make the things what you killed log fill up faster. We're still going to be waiting a while. So as you can see here, this was a 33-minute run. That's including the time I took off to write the script. The loop was about half of that, but, like, 33 minutes for 30,000 gold, that's amazing. So, yeah, all the gold.